Bismillah, Cure from Black Magic, Jinn and Illness. This article has been written due to continued misleading and dangerous advice from Muslims who are sadly ill-informed regarding the day-to-day effects of jinn. Illnesses, problems, calamities and quarrels are all inevitable for humans, considering that a shaitan is attached to every one of us constantly since birth. It is therefore necessary for all Muslims to understand the activities of this incessant satanic influence. Quran states that shaitan is an enemy and that we should treat it as such. Far from recognizing it as an enemy, most of us forget that they even exist, even though they interfere in probably every thought that we have. To visit a Raqi, healer, or doctor requires a smattering of knowledge of the problem. We are well versed in the kinds of symptoms that the doctor will look for, but we are generally ignorant of the basic symptoms of jinn and sihr, black magic. Such knowledge is not only often straightforward but also a forgotten Islamic requirement. Know your enemy. Shaitan and black magic can cause illnesses such as depression, epilepsy and even cancer. Even when they are not the cause of an ailment, you can be sure they will take advantage of a person's poor health. These devils can destroy marriages and even prevent a person from earning a living through blockages. The first thing a Muslim should do on suffering from any problem is pray for ease and look to the sinner for an answer or a cure. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was known to recite the kuls over his body using his hands. The kuls are specifically used for protection from jinn and sihr, but our beloved Prophet, peace be upon him, used them in such a case where Muslims today would resort immediately to the doctors. It is not a bad thing to see a doctor, but isn't it much quicker to first pray and recite Quran? If the ruqyah doesn't quickly remove the ailment, and the symptoms suggest that a clinical doctor might be of benefit, then by all means see a doctor. If there is instant relief by reciting ruqyah, then it can be concluded that jinn are causing the problem. If the problem returns and goes again with ruqyah, it means that you have a permanent jinn problem which a genuine raqi should be able to solve. It exposes a great failing in a Muslim community when reliable ulama can easily be found but not reliable raqis, healers. It may be that the raqi will also suggest that a doctor be seen to complement the ruqyah treatment. If the doctor or other professionals are stumped by the problem, this is a sign that very likely jinn are involved. If someone is suddenly unable to consume certain foods or drinks, they should recite Surah Al-Falaq over the produce. This is a very effective but temporary solution if black magic is the cause. Pains in the body may be relieved by reciting Ayatul Kursi if jinn are involved. Other symptoms includes the victim becoming emotional without good reason or personality changes. Sometimes a person may not have any afflictions themselves, but they are occasionally being affected by someone else's jinn, such as the spouse or business partner. Our Nareen will always encourage us to argue, but we should also be vigilant for signs of extra satanic whispers. According to Hadith, one of the biggest trophies a shaitan can acquire is the destruction of a marriage, so both husband and wife should always analyze the conversations for infiltration. If there is a constant feeling of negativity as soon as one enters the home or presence of one's spouse, you can assume there is a demonic force at play. Likewise, exaggerated marital problems may be due to black magic. The general rule is that any strange behavior may be the result of jinn manipulation. If a Muslim is constantly addressing her behavior as well as recognizing the nafs and shaitan, it will be fairly easy to identify a third-party influence. The best people to treat problems of jinn, evil eye and black magic are the ulama, but sadly, in the UK students are not taught anything about the effects of jinn. Even if an alim does not want to follow a path of treating others for these problems, then, like all Muslims, they should at least know how to diagnose victims of these unseen evils. Simply telling the public to be aware of charlatans is not nearly enough. All Muslims need to get educated. Diagnosis should be as obligatory as knowing the Islamic calendar, while treatment should be as relevant as knowing how to lead in salah. Another failing of the Muslim community is the apparent confusion as to what is permissible and what is forbidden in ruqyah. Charlatans take advantage of this confusion. Within this field are sincere and pious practitioners, many of whom are ulama, who are using methods which are not acceptable to other ulama, even ones who are graduates of the same institutions. Some will accept the use of pious jinn and ta'weed while others will condemn. We can only marvel at the incredible work that Iblis has done in keeping this important aspect of deen so shrouded. It seems the wings of Sharia have encompassed everything except this ancient topic. If one is suffering from anxiety and depression, and cannot find peace of mind, then it does not necessarily mean that one has displeased Allah. If you know that you are displeasing the Creator, then you should remember that true peace of mind can never be found in disobedience. Depression is a clinical illness. It isn't, as many believe, a sad mood or a negative outlook on life, but can be seen as something of an injury that won't heal without proper treatment. If a person has gone through trauma, even though it may have been many years ago, Shaitan can take advantage and send her into an emotional nosedive. Black magic can cause similar problems to a person's emotional state. It can be very distressing going through extreme sadness and not knowing why. The sufferer may even be very pious, but due to ignorance, the suffering is prolonged and or increased. Shaitan can easily play with the emotions via the heart or simply through waswas, whispers. Imagine your spouse, parent appears continually criticizing you again and again. Any sane person would head towards depression, which could easily weaken one's health and iman. How many thousands of Muslims have committed suicide due to Shaitan's waswas? Remembering that we are plagued by Shaitan is part of remembering Allah, the one who warned us about Shaitan. The one who misses his 5-time prayers due to constant reading of Quran can only be called negligent in regards to Allah. I have met pious individuals who are learned and a hafid of the Quran, mashallah, but who have also become victims of black magic, through no fault of their own. They recited Ruqiyya, Manzil, every day and kept far away from evil, but from a distance someone thought to send sihr, black magic, onto them. Our beloved Prophet, peace be upon him, himself became a victim of sihr. The truth is that sihr can hit anyone. There is no du'as or surah that can stop it. We need to stop perpetuating this dangerous myth. If the best of creation, peace and blessings be upon him, couldn't protect himself from being targeted, then who are we? It is also important to understand the complex procedure which Prophet Muhammad went through in protecting himself after being hit by the spell. The only protection we have been blessed with is that which protects from some of the effects of sihr. Along with Quran and du'as, it is also necessary to subdue the nafs in order to reduce the effects of this evil.